So John, when did you decide to run? Why did you decide to run?
I decided about 8 months ago, and I'm running because I love the city. And there's a lot of chaos in the city right now at the council meetings, and I can make a difference.
How can you make a difference?
Because of the experience that I have, also my temperament, and really the experience that I've had, which we could explain if you want, but I can make a difference.
You mentioned temperament the first time I met you.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
You know, I've owned a computer company for 30 years, but I've been managing homeowners associations for the last 20, and you know, sometimes people laugh at that, but you know, I've dealt with every possible personality in those 20 years, and of course the boards, you know, I work with boards, and some of the smartest people on the planet on those boards, you know, living in these various condos and homeowners associations. So I'm used to working with people who are opinionated and difficult, and I've done that very well.
And you see that here in the city?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's, yes, I've, right with the commissioners. I mean, if there's something that has to be fixed, if you want, because I'm running on safety and civility too. If you want safety in the city, you have to have a working relationship between the mayor and the commissioner of public safety. You have to have a good relationship between the mayor and the commissioner of public safety. If you don't, safety is at risk, and we see a lot of that right now. That's the one thing that has to be restored as soon as possible.
So, safety and civility.
Yes.
That's your platform?
That's my platform.
Let's talk about safety.
Yes.
Biggest concerns in the city?
Biggest concern in the city. People aren't aware that our crime rate is up 30%. And this was statistics that just came out. And robberies are up. There are people who are coming into this city thinking that we're weak because we look weak on TV. You know, we look like our council is not coordinated at all, and we see people interfering with police work all the time, and that has to stop. We have to let our police do the work that they do. We need to have, you know, we now have a review board. We have all of these things to make sure that they're doing their job correctly, which I agree with. But we have to let them do their job.
How long have you lived in the city?
I've been here for a little over 20 years, moved in 1999. My wife moved here first. People are interested in knowing she moved here to be involved with domestic violence. She was the clinical director of domestic violence, which is why I'm familiar with that type of homelessness, by the way.
So, you know, we talked about safety, we talked about civility. If you win, what are the first things you want to tackle?
The first things that I will do is to do everything I can to reestablish the pre-agenda meeting. The pre-agenda meetings are very important to having civility at regular meeting. And right now they're very short. Maybe he's heard me talk about this before and he's trying to change that, which I hope he is. I'm talking about the current mayor. But I will reestablish that. I will work as hard as I can to bring, because that's where the argument should occur. If you're going to have disagreements on certain votes and things of that nature, under this commission form of government, the only time that all 5 people can be together is in that kind of a meeting. You can't meet separately, and it has to be, you know, has to be online. So I will do everything I can to reestablish not cohesion. I'm a believer in representative government. You know, that's why I'm a Republican, and we all represent different interests. So we need to recognize that. We need to respect one another. We need to have, you know, good conversations at that meeting, so that the regular meeting goes smoothly. That's my number one thing.
You can't control the outside coming into those meetings, though. That's also been an issue here in the city. How do we fix that?
Well, not many people come to that pre-agenda meeting, so hopefully at least you're together in terms of being able to handle what happens when you have public comment. And it's been pretty much out of control for a while now. It's even worse now than it's ever been. And there has to be a good way to let the citizens who have something to say come and say it without abusing the commissioners, without swearing, without causing the commotions that have been happening. And I've been thinking about different ways. Now, as you know, I support Tim Cole. I'm hoping that he wins his election, but whoever is in the public safety position, if I'm elected mayor, we have to have a good understanding as to how the police may or may not be used in those situations. We have to have a good, solid procedure.
We had a busy week this past week. You had the Darrell Mount stuff.
Yes.
The mayor was served at a meeting. Thoughts on any of the recent things that have happened?
Well, I've been very, I follow the Darrell Mount issue. Obviously, everybody has. And I was interested to know if there was any additional evidence that was presented here at a real trial, where everything was very clearly presented and 6 people made a decision. Now, whether or not it's going to be accepted, who knows? But it definitely, just justifies so much of the things that police have been accused of things that they just were not, guilty of. So I'm hoping that this just puts this behind us. I don't think it will, but I'm hoping it does.
How do you feel about the current chief?
I think the current chief is a good guy. He needed to be his role also needed to be clarified. But yes, I am a big proponent, as is Tim Cole, of getting officers actually walking the beat here. And the police, since he's come in, they've started to do that, and I'm going to be a big proponent of that. I think that's very important.
Anything else you think is important? What's your message to the voters as we get ready to head to the polls?
It's interesting because I've had other interviews, and people are interested. I've been asked this question about the issues. Normally we have 10 or 15 issues but right now, going door to door, talking to people, the one issue is they want to see order restored to those meetings. That's like on everybody's mind. And so that's the number one thing I'm telling people is I can do that.
Do you think that a little calm and peace at the leadership level is going to achieve that?
Yes, I do. It's like a pyramid. Because especially with our form of government, if the commission is not getting along, then their staff isn't getting along. They're afraid to talk to one another. And when you don't have communication in City Hall with the commission form of government, if you want to try and get anything done, it takes 2 or 3 of the various commissions to get it done, and everything stops. Yes, and it starts right at that meeting.
What's your vision for the city? Where do you see the city 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
This is a great city. I love this city. I've said from the beginning it would function without a government because everyone is so interconnected. All the volunteer organizations are interconnected pretty much. It's something that I would encourage and continue to develop. But you need a government that can at least provide guidelines for everything that's important. The leaves being picked up, the sewer working, the water running, the basic things that a municipality has to provide are taken for granted here, but we do a great job of that. I don't want to see that go away.
I guess the last question I have for you is, you're a Republican. This is a strongly Democratic city.
Yeah.
How do you win this?
The only time a Republican has won, well, of course, 15 years ago was a Republican city, right? And there's a lot of people that didn't like the idea of having one party dominate it. So now it's a Democrat city, and it's being dominated by Democrats. But they're split right now. And because of that, and I'm grateful to Chris Matthiessen, who's a friend of mine, somebody I respect and like, but because he's staying in this race and has a chance, because it's possible but that will split the vote. I only have 400 votes different. I always get 3,800. Round one at 4,200. That's only a 400 difference, and I think I'm making that up for sure. I think I'm going to win this.
We talk about the meetings, we talk about crime. The other one is homelessness.
Right.
Why are you the man who can come in and change that?
Yeah. So with the homeless it's a fascinating population. Frankly, when I first got here, I was not as busy as I normally am, and so I ran the breakfast program for the Salvation Army, and I got to know and actually made friends with a number of people. They've all died now. The people I knew 18 years ago when I was doing this. The sad fact is that homeless populations turn over fairly quickly for a number of reasons. I mean, the real chronic ones. But there's domestic violence homelessness that people don't, that needs to be addressed. You have kids. Last I heard, there was 120 kids in the school who are couch surfing with their families. This is a homelessness issue as well. The thing that people seem to be most concerned about is when there's 8 or 10 guys hanging around the park, because people see it and it makes people afraid to come downtown sometimes. That is a tragedy. But there are ways that we can do, and especially with very clear instructions. One of the things that people aren't aware of is we have a very unique court here. Francine Vero has a court that used to be called the drug court. It's called the homeless court.
Mm-hmm.
And people can be ticketed. They're not going to go to jail or anything like that, but they have to appear in front of her court, and she can mandate that they do certain things to try and improve their lives. This is a wonderful, but it's not used as much as it should be. And I'm very interested in working with whoever that's a public safety issue, to implement that.
The city has made some strides recently in that public kind of homelessness. Again, it doesn't negate the fact that there's more of it happening that you don't see. But the garages and things like that, there has been some improvements.
Yeah, it seems like that, but I can address that. There are basically three things going on right now. One is the low barrier shelter. That was not Mayor Kemp. That was Mike Keller that set that up, and now he's taking credit for it, but he's also providing some support for it, which I applaud. But it's a temporary thing. It's a 2-year thing. He has appointed a homeless task force, and he appointed probably the best guy to run it, Tom Ruin, to be the chairman, and they're making great strides, but it's hard to find a place to do something permanent. There's some talk about doing something out at Liable for that. But then you have Code Blue. Code Blue is a county thing. So you have these three kind of disparate solutions all kind of being worked out separately. I think I can do something about changing that.
Getting it to be a little more cohesive?
Yes. Because the county needs to be involved more than they are now with the city. The city and the county need to have a better relationship.
So that's something you want to work on as well?
Absolutely. Yes.
You would have a lot of work to do.
Yes, in 2 years, there's a lot to do. But I think I'm already doing a lot of that stuff. This isn't something I'm just starting. I network with all these places now. So I could step in and keep that going. Like I'm saying, the networking of this city is fantastic. The people who get involved, the various committees. This is a wonderful city. We want to keep it that way.
Your background, what you've done until now.
Okay. So, I was in the military. I was a commander of a special operation that tracked atomic explosions. There was a lot of pressure. when I came out, I worked with early computers in that job. And when I came out, I went to, I was messed up for a while. So I learned how to program computers, and I then developed and ran my own computer company, specializing in law enforcement. I've automated over 200 municipal departments. I've written software. Municipal software or accounting is a little different. It's fund accounting. I'm familiar with that. So I have all this wonderful background as far as automation is concerned. As far as the technical side of things. But then running homeowners associations is the exact opposite. I've learned so much. I mean, a professional manager of a homeowners association, very similar to a city manager. It's the same job, only I do it for 6 or 7 different places rather than one. So the experience is way more than what a city manager would. It deals with just one entity and millions of dollars of assessment. So I'm used to taxes. I'm used to code enforcement. I'm used to people complaining. I'm the code enforcer. I'm like a police officer. So I have all of the various experiences that you need to run a city. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite spot in the city?
Actually, I like Congress Park. I often come here.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and since I've been running, I have a chance to talk to people a little bit. Yeah, so I love the park. Right in the city.